Hey, this is Joe and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I want to talk about creating versus consuming. So, I'd like to start by just asking you, how much time do you spend watching YouTube versus how much time do you spend creating your own YouTube videos? How much time do you spend listening to music? And how much time do you spend creating your own music? How much time do you spend listening to podcasts? How much time do you spend recording your own podcast? How much time do you spend reading other people's books? How much time do you spend writing your own book? So, if you're like 99% of people, you only consume and you very, very rarely, if ever, create. So being creative, is something we tend to think of as being only for a small percentage of people. Like only everyone listens to music, but only a small percentage of people will actually create music. Pretty much everybody watches YouTube, but only a very small percentage of people actually create content on YouTube. But the truth is that being creative and creating new things is essentially a God-given capability that we all have. Like, we all have the ability to be creative. Now, whether we're actually doing the creating is another question altogether. Maybe we're just tapping into God or the universe. But the point is, we all have the ability to be creative, but 99% of people don't actually use that ability. And they spend their whole lives just consuming other people's content. And there's nothing actually wrong with consuming other people's content, because creating and consuming are two sides of a coin. And there's no point in creating content if there's no one out there to consume that content. So it's okay to consume sometimes, but for most people, this is just way out of balance, and they only consume and they never create. And, consuming for hours and hours and hours, watching TV and watching YouTube and listening to music, and just consuming for hours and hours, and then never actually creating. And this is just such an easy trap to fall into that I would argue most people have actually fallen into this trap. And why do we fall into this trap? Because consuming is easy. Anyone can consume. But creating requires discipline and courage. But the truth is, I think everyone has an ability to create. And I think everyone deep down actually wants to be creative in some fashion. And I think that deep down, everyone kind of knows that they should be being creative, that they actually have something to contribute and they want to contribute it, but they're afraid to contribute it, and they medicate their failure to be creative and to contribute with excessive consumption. Because the truth is, if you were being creative, if you were expressing yourself, you wouldn't need to watch TV for 4 hours. I don't think most creative people do this. Most creative people don't watch TV for 4 hours. But because I know one thing I've found in my own life is that when I'm creative, my desire for consumption just plummets. If I'm not being creative, I can watch YouTube for hours. But if I'm being creative, I could take it or leave it. I mean, yeah, I could watch YouTube, but it's just like the need is not there. So I guess the message of this video is consume less and create more. And no one ever got rich being a consumer. No one ever got rich watching TV. No one ever got rich watching YouTube. No one ever got rich reading other people's books. Now, can you learn something from consumption sometimes? Yeah, I mean, it's important to consume sometimes, but again, it's out of balance for most people. No one ever got rich by being a consumer. No one ever did accomplish anything great by being a consumer. You know, famous people you don't remember people through someone famous throughout history because, you know, you don't remember the consumer. You know, you remember the person who wrote the book. You remember the person who, you know, who actually gave the speech. You don't remember the person who listened to the speech. So, I mean, consuming will never make you rich. It will never make you accomplish anything worthwhile. And if you're creative, if you create, you know, you may still never be rich, and, you know, you may still, you know, you may never be some super successful person. But the thing is, you don't know if you don't try. And this is another thing that we like consumption because it's predictable. The result is predictable. We know what we're going to get. But when you're creative, when you put yourself out there, you have no idea what's going to happen or how people are going to react. And that's scary. The lack of certainty is scary. You don't know what's going to be, you know, what the comment section in your video is going to look like. Will people like it? Will people dislike it? It's uncertainty, but again, it requires courage to deal with that uncertainty. And we live in a consumerist culture, and everyone is just consuming. Even successful people, even wealthy people, a lot of people, even successful people who you look up to, who spend most of their time consuming. And they may be successful in business, they may be successful financially, but I think a person that's not expressing themselves creatively in some fashion is not really living life to the fullest. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope this video was useful, and have a great day.